Today, we'll be predicting Smash Bros. Ultimate's roster. Of course, this roster will not be 100% accurate, but we will have what I would consider probably the most accurate possible Smash Bros. 6 roster out there. Yeah. And we'll be going based off of trends, what games are released by Nintendo, and basically what are the popular picks for characters as well. So for example, just because I want Iron Bundle as a Gen 9 rep doesn't mean Iron Bundle will probably get in, as based off trends, it's mostly the starters. But we're going over to the veteran fighters as well. So the first characters I think will return are very, very easy. Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser. These four characters I think are going to have a 100% chance of returning. Then we get for these four characters. Yoshi is returning. But who would Nintendo pick to bring back as well? As Mario has three characters that are veterans that could be cut. Of course, they can be brought back later as DLC, but I think the character that's most likely to return is Bowser Jr. as well. Rosalina could return, but she isn't as relevant as another new Mario character, which will likely be represented in the newcomers as well, with a returning veteran, which, yeah, you can thank Donkey Kong Bonanza for that. We'll get into them next. Donkey Kong will technically be replaced by a new character. So of course, I'm talking about replacing Donkey Kong as a solo character, and basically replacing Donkey Kong with Donkey Kong and Pauline because of Donkey Kong Bonanza, which of course is one of Nintendo's big games of the year. Donkey Kong Bonanza also had the return of King K. Rool as well. Of course, if you have not played the game, you will likely be spoiled by that, but we're doing a Smash Bros. Prediction, so of course, we're going to have to talk about King K. Rool's return in the game as well. I think our picks for Donkey Kong will be based off of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Instead of adding Void Kong as the next arbitrary Donkey Kong rep, well, considering the fact that King K. Rool is already the final boss of the game, well, that makes King K. Rool's chances, which he is all the way down here, way much more returning. And also Piranha Plant and Daisy are cut. Do I need to explain why these characters are cut? I know Daisy is becoming more prominent in Mario series, but she doesn't echo of Pete's, and I don't think we'll be having echoes on this roster. Piranha Plant will be cut because we might just replace Piranha Plant with a new Mario enemy as well that is also just as iconic as him. King K. Rool, I think, will be Donkey Kong's second rep. But what about Diddy Kong? Well, Diddy Kong didn't even make it to Mario Kart World. So, I know there are rumors that claim he'll be in Mario Kart World or the Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC, but considering the fact that we are trying to shorten the roster, and the fact that King K. Rool appears in Donkey Kong Bonanza as the final villain, meanwhile Diddy Kong is not really much well to be seen in that game as well here. I think Diddy Kong could either take a break or be added back as a DLC character to represent a new Donkey Kong Country game later down the line. We're still going to add characters through DLC, and also veteran characters can return through DLC. And with Donkey Kong and Pauline being a new character, almost all Donkey Kong's new moves will be based off of Donkey Kong Bonanza, which would make a lot of sense as well. Mario would also get a slight few reworks based off of Mario Wonder, and get a new Final Smash based off Mario Wonder. Luigi's moveset will integrate more of Luigi's Mansion. Peach will integrate some of Peach's Showtime in her moveset. And of course, Bowser will still keep Giga Bowser as the Final Smash. I know I want to see Fury Bowser as the Final Smash, but Giga Bowser is too iconic from Smash Bros. For him to get rid of Giga Bowser. Yoshi and Bowser Jr.'s moveset will stay the same because Bowser Jr.'s moveset, is very unique as well. But what about Mario's newcomers? Yes, Mario's going to have a few newcomers as well. And I'll be picking a few newcomers that make sense. If we're going to have a generic enemy in every Mario game as well, I think we can start with the most basic generic enemies. Waluigi makes a lot of sense to add in as a newcomer. Also can add Wario as well. Yeah, Wario is of course returning. we didn't cover the WarioWare series yet, but Waluigi being in Smash Bros., I think Nintendo does, to a certain extent, look up the most requested characters. And I think the most requested character for Smash 6, besides Crash Bandicoot, is Waluigi. It'll be very strange if Waluigi gets left out as well. Also, we already have Pauline represented with Donkey Kong Bonanza and DK. So we can also have Donkey Kong's new design related to Bonanza, and also add Pauline as a playable character, as a duo character. This will leave Goomba as the next Mario rep. This character will be the first DLC added in as a bonus package for the character. We always add 2 new Mario characters, but Goomba making as the pre-order / bonus character. Of course, you can still buy him, of course, later on, after the 3-month period comes up, but basically Goomba will replace Piranha Plant as this game's joke character. However, another Mario series, I think, deserves representation. Another very long-running franchise. And no, it's not Xeno. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, yes, Xeno appeared in the Mario RPG remake, but there was one other character I think is more deserving to represent the RPGs than Xeno. And that is Paper Mario. Paper Mario will represent his own universe, the Paperverse, as well. Paper Mario will get his own separate universe, like Wario, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong, as well. Okay, this will open the door for future Paper Mario characters to be represented through DLC. But for now, we're going to be starting with Paper Mario as its sole representative. And of course, Paper Mario's will get its, and every newcomer will get its own stage. Waluigi will get Waluigi Pinball. Goomba will get Level 1-1, because that's where you fit for see Goomba as well. Let's bring back Mushroom Kingdom for Goomba as well. I know people hate that stage, but hey, it's the stage where you first see Goombas in. So my 1-1. Also bring back the 1-2-1 as well. Paper Mario will get Rogueport as a stage. This makes a lot of sense, as Bowser's Fury Door is still well regarded as the best Paper Mario game. I know I'd love to pick a stage from Super Paper Mario, but we all know Bowser's Fury Door will probably win in the fan vote. So, and we all know, Bowser's Fury Door got a remake very recently as well, which adds into the credence of Rogueport being Paper Mario's stage as well. Also, Paper Mario gets its own separate soundtrack as well, including tracks from all 5 Paper Mario games. And yes, in this hypothetical Smash Bros. Will be added in the Scissors theme, and of course the King Ari theme as well, because those themes are too cool to be left out of the next Smash Bros. Game. Also, you can add in the tape theme as well. It's just, those themes are just too perfect. Also, Rogueport will also feature cameos of the stage from Paper Mario from characters like World Crump as well. Also, Paper Mario would integrate his partners in as playable characters, so no one has to request Paper Mario's partners as a playable character as well. Paper Mario will likely stay as a lone character. Of course, you can add in characters like King Ari or Dimencio, as Dimencio is the most popular non-partner character, and King Ari is the most recent villain, but even then they'll probably still add in a character like Sir Grotus or Rockhawk even, but I think Paper Mario will stay as a solo character. Next franchise is Zelda. And Zelda right off the bat will cut in 3 characters. Of course, we all know it's the 3 other rings. We do not need 3 rings in the what? Okay, the 2 other rings. I thought there were 4 rings, but... Alright, yeah, the 2 other rings. They can be cut. Also, Seek can be cut too. That means Zelda is going to need some new characters, and we have some. So there are 2 new Zelda characters I would add. First is Impa, because Impa can basically get Seek's moveset, as Seek is basically just Zelda, and basically Impa would be a very good replacement for Seek. And of course, Nintendo still does look at popular character requests to add, and one of the most requested Zelda characters is Skull Kid. Skull Kid adds yet another villain onto the roster, and also he's a very popular character as well. Also, if we're not going to give Young Link the masks, we can give Skull Kid a mask-based moveset as well. Yeah. And we don't need 3 rings on the roster. We only need 1 ring. Link will still have his Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom moveset. Zelda will, however, have a new moveset based around the new Zelda game. It came out in 2024 as well. Forgot what it's called. I think Echoes of Wisdom, and Ganondorf will have some moves from Tears of the Kingdom as well. here, including the new Groom Hands as well, which will integrate into his moveset as well. He'll be decloned a bit further from Captain Falcon, giving him moves from Tears of the Kingdom. Zelda and Link will remain relatively unchanged, as I don't see a new major Zelda game coming out for Link as well. So Samus and Ridley are the two reps currently of Metroid. I'm not really too familiar with Metroid characters. However, I do think Metroid needs a new rep, to replace Dark Samus, considering the fact that Metroid Prime 4 is really going to release by the time Smash 6 comes out. This makes a lot of sense to add a Metroid Prime rep, and also have Ridley as the, of course, in the game, as basically the villain rep. Also cutting Zero Suit Samus because we don't need two Samuses on the roster. Yes, the whole point is Zero Suit Samus is supposed to be, Samus, after he uses a Final Smash, but they got rid of that in the 3DS version. Samus' moveset will remain almost relatively unchanged. Maybe add a few new moves from Metroid Dread. Ridley will remain, of course, unchanged from Smash Ultimate, with a few tweaks to make him a bit better. King K. Rool, of course, King K. will remain relatively unchanged as well, and Mario will do too. King K. will have a few moves from Bonanza, will have a new move from Bonanza to reference that game, but other than that, that is the Metroid series. And next franchise is Kirby will get one new rep, unfortunately. Considering the fact that we have to keep the number of newcomers to a minimum as well, Banana D will be the sole new rep for Kirby. This makes the most sense considering the fact that Banana Waddle Dee is practically player 2 in most Kirby games as well. But hey, Magolor and Mox can probably get in through DLC. So, as well. But of course, we can't really predict the DLC as of now, but Banana Waddle Dee being the sole new Kirby rep makes a lot of sense, considering that we added technically 8 newcomers already. Wolf will be cut once again, because Star Fox is irrelevant as hell. Falco has been around longer than Wolf in Smash Bros, and Wolf was cut once before. So this makes the most amount of sense for Star Fox as a franchise. Pokemon, I know some people be angry that Jigglypuff got cut, but Jigglypuff got cut twice before. I think they're gonna keep the Pokemon down to a minimum as well. They're gonna cut Incineroar and Lucario most likely. Why those characters? Because I don't make the rules. The reason why Greninja is staying because Greninja is one of the most popular Pokemon of all time, and also Pokemon Legends ZA is releasing as well. Whereas of course Greninja is a Kalos mod, whereas there's a perfect reason to keep Greninja. Charizard, Mewtwo, and Pikachu are the 3 essential Pokemon. I'm getting rid of Pokemon Trainer because it'll be easier to work in new characters, and thus you can just cut out Squirtle and Ivysaur as well. And Charizard staying makes the most sense. Charizard is basically the second most popular Pokemon behind Pikachu. I know those Pokemon polls that say Greninja's number 1, but amongst normies, Pikachu, Charizard, and Mewtwo are the most popular Pokemon. Sorry, Jigglypuff, you're not. As well. Greninja will of course be in the game to represent Generation 6, and of course, Incineroar will be cut in favor of a Generation 10 Pokemon, as most rumors point to Generation 10 releasing in 2026, and I think Smash 6 will release in 2027 as well. Generation 10, of course, will likely get a new Pokemon as well. Yeah. And I'm not giving Pokemon 2 new reps because even Mario got a bunch of cuts as well and is down to 7 characters as well. And also we can get new Pokemon through, of course, DLC. Unfortunately, Gen 8 and Gen 9 will not really participate, considering how strange they are with rules of Pokemon as well. Also, they likely might prioritize Lucario as a playable character through DLC. Captain Falcon and Ness will, of course, return, as I feel bad cutting the entire series. However, we're gonna go over the retro apps. Smash 6 is kind of infamous. Smash Ultimate is kind of infamous as they did not add a retro rep as a playable character, which almost every Smash Bros. Game has added at least one. However, Smash Ultimate has not included any. I think at least a few of them will stay as well. One of them being a third-party character, of course, which, yeah, I already kind of spoiled the later part of the video. But Mr. Gillen Watts, Rob will be staying. And because there are less characters this time, Mark Biker will finally get a playable rep in the roster. Also, they're adding a new retro rep as well. Mr. Garen Watson Rob will stay, but Ice Climbers will be cut. Probably because I don't like Ice Climbers the most as well. But also, I do think that, yes, there are some characters I think that are long overdue to be cut. And also, Mark Bike will add a completely new Mark Rider or Mark Bike. I think it's Mark Rider, but Mark Rider will add in a fresh new retro rep. Or Stock Rider doesn't add in a new retro rep this entry, and he's done with them as well. Also, Duck Hunt's being cut because we're cutting characters, and I think Duck Hunt's an easy cut. And then we have, of course, Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem, we're gonna cut probably most of the characters in the roster. I think we'll keep an Awakening character because that series saved Fire Emblem as a franchise. But we're gonna cut down Fire Emblem to 4 characters. Marth, Robin, Byleth, and new Fire Emblem character. Considering the fact we could get a new Fire Emblem game coming out as well, or you can add in the character from Engage, well, there could be a new Fire Emblem character. This will cut down the Fire Emblem roster in half, basically. And I think it's a much needed change. Fire Emblem is extremely oversaturated, considering the fact that it's smaller than Kirby as a franchise, and Kirby has less characters than Fire Emblem as well. I know giving Kid Icarus 2 reps, considering the fact that the dormant series is too much, but if Sakurai still has any, vision on the game, which he probably will, well, Palutena's probably staying as well. Given the fact that, Sakurai will probably still have some vision over the game, as he's still actively making games that could be Outriders, I think he'll still stretch the rules a bit to keep Palutena. Dark Pit is how we're being cut. And of course, we're going to talk about one of my favorite Nintendo series, Pikmin. And of course, Pikmin 4 was a massive success. And Nintendo actually considers Pikmin one of the core series. Yes, they really consider Pikmin one of the core series. So Pikmin having 2 reps makes a lot of sense. Aomao, of course, returning as he is the most iconic character from the Pikmin series. However, we'll be having a new character, Oatchi from Pikmin 4 as well. Given the fact that he's a highly marketable character, and some fans do love his inclusion as he makes the game easier. However, he's still a character I think a lot of people will love as his inclusion, as basically he can represent Pikmin 4 and all of its glory and Smash 6, which, of course, as well. I could also add an elf, but what would elf have different than Aomao? Maybe he can just give back Aomao's original recovery. But I think adding Oatchi as a playable character makes the most sense. And I think he is actually one of the most likely characters to be added in Smash 6 as well, given the fact that he is a very marketable character. And also Pikmin 4 is insanely successful for the franchise as well. And Pikmin just deserves 2 reps as well. I just don't think adding Bulba makes sense as a playable character, or Water Wave. Even though those are pretty iconic characters in Pikmin. I think they'll be added as assist trophies as well. And of course, Animal Crossing again, new rep as well. I think it's between 2 characters, KK Slider and Tom Nook. But I think Tom Nook as the slight edge. The only problem is Tom Nook is a part of Village's moveset, but Chrom is a playable character, and Chrom is still in still in Robin's final smash. Case closed. Tom Nook would make a perfect fit, as he's been in every Animal Crossing since the very beginning. And he is one of the most iconic and memorable characters from the series. Besides, of course, KK Slider, which unfortunately will not be in the game as a playable character. Maybe you can make him an assist trophy so Animal Crossing can have another assist trophy. But Tom Nook as a playable character would be a pretty cool inclusion as well. And also, Animal Crossing would get a new rep as well. However, Pyra and Mythra will be swapped out for Xenoblade's new protagonists. Also, Little Mac returns. He'll still be like the worst character in the entire game, but he will return. However, Splatoon, there's a lot of characters to pull from. You can add in Big Man as a playable character, you can add in the Octarine, the Squid Sisters. But however, what about a villain for Inkling? Of course, Mr. Grizz, the main antagonist, as well. I know people say, but he's too big. But you guys said about Ridley and King K. Rool, and they got in as playable characters. All you can do is really downsize him and just make him a heavyweight character as well. And also, Splatoon is one of Nintendo's main franchises. No, Pikmin is also one of them in Animal Crossing, but I think Splatoon will have the same amount of reps as Animal Crossing. This makes the most amount of sense as Splatoon has exploded in popularity. Octarine can be added as another character that uses a whole different set of weapons that are not represented through Inkling's moveset. Inkling can still keep the Splatoon 1-esque moveset. Meanwhile, Octarine can be added in as a playable character to represent the newer Splatoon weapons as well. And Mr. Grizz can be a pretty great villain rep as well. I don't know Splatoon 2 as a villain, but Mr. Grizz would represent the most recent Splatoon game, however, Splatoon 3 as well. And all three characters can represent all three Splatoon games, which are all huge hits. And of course, we have the last IP, veteran IP, before we add in the first new IP, and then we get the third parties. And of course, I don't really want to cut out ARMS as a franchise, considering the fact that Nintendo may bring back ARMS in the future. I know it was a secret character that people always talk about that might get in Smash 6, but we're not including unreleased games, okay, in our roster. However, one game that has released is Ring Fit Adventure. And of course, Wii Fit Trainer will be replaced with Ring Fit Trainer. That's simple. Why would you keep Wii Fit Trainer if you have the newer characters? And of course, the Mii's return. Mii's are still on the Switch too. And of course, we all know they love the Mii costumes. Of course, there's a possibility they might replace the Mii's with the sports mates as well. But the Mii costumes are just such a big money-making thing for Smash Bros. I just don't see the Mii's being cut. And no, I'm not separating the Mii into the three separate characters. Yeah, I'm not doing that. So I'm just going to put Mii as just a standalone character. And that's all the first-party characters. What about third-party characters? Which companies should be represented? Of course, the Sonic franchise. And I think Sonic is foul due for a newcomer. Dr. Eggman as a new playable character as well. Of course, this would add in another villain rep, but also Eggman's kind of like the Bowser of Sonic. It was just kind of weird to leave him out. He is the main villain of the series. I know lots of people, including myself, want Shadow the Hedgehog. But, however, Eggman is still the main villain of Sonic, not Shadow the Hedgehog. And we're not adding in Echo characters. So, Dr. Eggman being the sole new rep of Sonic makes sense as well. And Shadow can stay as a assist trophy, as Dr. Eggman can use his various weapons and mechs in his battle, very similar to Bowser Jr. as well. And Eggman can, of course, even summon the Egg Fleet or Metal Sonic to do his bidding in his final smash as well. And also, we haven't really covered that as well. Mark Rider will probably get a Mark Rider Space stage. Generation 10 will get Pokemon will probably get a new stage. Kirby will probably get a new stage. Metro will probably get a new stage based on Metroid Prime 4. And of course, Fire Emblem get a new stage based on Fire Emblem 4. Pikmin will get a stage based on Pikmin 4 as well. Also, I did consider adding Rui as a playable character. He controls the Aiden Scihound, but Pikmin is too niche of a series to have free characters. But Rui would be an amazing character to play as in Smash Bros. Maybe you can add him as a boss stage in like the New World of Light as a boss with playing the Aiden Scihound. You can have that amazing music as well. Also, Animal Crossing gets a new stage based off New Horizons. Xenoblade gets a new stage based off Xenoblade 3. Splatoon gets new stage based off Splatoon 3. And Ring Fit Trainer gets her own stage as well. Of course, Sonic will get a new stage based off of Sonic Frontiers as well. Also, the Titans can appear in the stage as well as bosses, but of course they can turn off the hazards as well, so you don't have to deal with the Titans, basically attacking you. However, excluding DLCs, which third-party characters can be added in through DLCs, There will be 6 other third-party characters I think that have the most likely chance of returning. Pac-Man, well, Pac-Man World Repackaged 2 is coming out. Steve, well, Minecraft is still extremely big and extremely huge. Ryu, well, they just released a new Street Fighter game. Cloud, Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to the Switch too. Banjo-Kazooie, so we can have a legacy pick for third parties. And Simon, so Konami doesn't get left out. And the other 4 parties can be added either through DLC or later on. Through DLC, basically, as well. So they can still be re-added to Sora if you really want, if people really want Sora back. We'll have a Smash Battle to see what veterans and characters people want back. I bet Sora probably at the top of that list. The reason why I got rid of Sora is that the next Kingdom Hearts game is taking forever to come out, and basically, we have Cloud as the sole Square rep. Sega is the only character that gets... Oh, actually, we forgot about one. We forgot about Bayonetta. Bayonetta also returns. Again, Bayonetta is practically a Nintendo-owned IP at this point, so returning makes the most sense as well, besides Sonic. But all these other characters make sense as well. I actually almost forgot Bayonetta was in Smash Bros. Yeah, big dumb moment. But what are the new third-party characters? Well, I want to save all the third-party characters for DLC. However, we'll be adding 2 very requested third-party characters in Smash. So Crash Bandicoot will be added in as the big event character as well. So basically, there'll be a big gaming event in like 2026 or 2027, and Crash Bandicoot will be one of the big characters announced as well. Considering the fact that he is practically the most requested Smash Bros. Character, him being in the game makes a lot of sense. And then we have Master Chief being added. But why added Master Chief? That's because Microsoft is adding a bunch of the first-party games to the Switch too. There's of course rumors of Oblivion. There was that of course Indiana Jones game that came out for the Switch as well. That's coming out for the Switch. Also Banjo-Kazooie, and also Microsoft is willing to work with Nintendo putting the games on the Switch too, as well. Which means most likely a lot of the major games, including the Halo series itself, will be coming to Switch too. Which means Microsoft, and of course Microsoft would have 3 characters at the start, which would kind of be extremely unfair, but Sega also has 3 characters. Steve is 2, it just can't be left out. And considering that, Microsoft and Sega are the 2 are probably be the 2 easiest companies Nintendo will likely work with, they'll probably add in as back as well. The other character, and also we want to cut the characters as well, so the problem is, Master Chief will basically be like some big deal that Microsoft made with Nintendo, basically to add in Banjo-Kazooie back and Master Chief as well. This will also some characters will actually be cut due to time constraints as well. It'll be added later in as DLC. And it'll actually be even explained that even with the Smash Battle results, a few characters will cut due to time constraints, which means they'll be added in as DLC as well. But this is your Smash 6 starting roster here. I think it is pretty good as well. But there'll be 5 or 6 characters that'll be returning through DLC. Of course, I can't really predict who will be added in as DLC, but there are at least 5 to 6 characters that were cut due to time constraints as well, so they will be cut from the roster. The first character is a very noticeable missing, and that's Mega Man. They wanted to include Mega Man on the base roster, but they were adding in a bunch of characters from newer Nintendo games as well. Mega Man will be sold kind of like how Mewtwo was, as the first DLC character being added to the game. Mewtwo was also likely cut due to time constraints as well, and this would make the most amount of sense as well. The next character that was cut due to time constraints was Jigglypuff. And because they see the massive demand of people complaining about the original 12, Jigglypuff will be a DLC character. Yes, Puff, you're lucky this time. The third character will be brought back as Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong was, of course, also cut due to time constraints. They wanted to include all 3 of the DK characters as well, but they worked so much on Donkey Kong's new moveset related to Donkey Kong Bonanza that they cut Diddy Kong as well. But Diddy Kong will be added in as basically, will also be added in with Mega Man and also Goomba. Add in with Mega Man and Goomba as the first 3 DLC characters before the Fighter Pass comes around as well. The fourth character cut due to time constraints is another noticeable missing, and that is Terry. Terry will be brought back in as DLC and more of the fighter passes as well. And the last character that will be returning through DLC is, by popular demand, Ike. Because, yeah, people really wanted him back for some reason. And yeah, basically in the second Fire Pass, he will return. But there will be 3 Fire Passes this time. So the third Fire Pass will, of course, include a returning character. But who will return as the third Fire Pass character? As also since we're doing returning characters, well, of course, the most requested character to return will come back, and that's Sora as a DLC character. But that is my thought process behind cutting characters. And of course, the DLC will be mostly focused on new characters being added in instead of old characters as well. As they want to give a lot of these older characters some more time to shine, and of course they can add more newcomers to represent newer Nintendo games as well, and of course add in other third-party deals Nintendo made. That's probably why Sora and Terry and Mega Man were cut as playable characters. This is so Nintendo can sell them in as DLC as well. However, Joker and Hero don't get to return for some reason as well, but hey, they want to add in new characters instead of adding in old characters as well. Yeah. But yep, this is just what I think could be the next Smash Bros. Roster as well. Of course, not everyone will return. Many characters were cut. Dr. Mario, Rosalina, and Rumor completely. The 2 other Links as well. Zero Suit Samus, Wolf, the other 2 Pokemon, Pichu. We're not counting cut characters for DLC, so Jigglypuff will not be counted. Lucario, Lucas, Ice Climbers, Roy, Lucina, Corn, Dark Pit will be cut. Refit Trainer as well will be cut. Duck Hunt will be cut. Snake will be cut because Konami wanted Simon instead, and of course wanted a new character as a DLC as well. And all these characters, and of course, Piranha Plant, Daisy will be cut. Doc Samus, Incineroar, Crom will be cut. Pyramithra will be cut, as well as Ken, Sephiroth, Joker, Hero, and of course, Kazuya will be cut as well. Yeah. And that is actually still a pretty decent amount of cut characters as well. Okay. And several characters like Elf will still be accessible through alternate costumes, along with the Kooparines as well. Yeah. But the next Smash Bros. Game had a nearly 10-year development cycle, which added a lot of experimentations as well. As Smash 6 started out once Smash Ultimate development has ended, and even experimented with the Switch 1, but moved on to the Switch 2 as well, which makes it much more easier. And Smash 6 Switch 1 version was actually cancelled because they couldn't fit in all the characters on the Switch 1 version as well, due to time constraints. And the Smash Bros. For Switch 2 will likely be releasing around 2028, I think. A 10-year development cycle to rework a bunch of characters, and also add in a bunch of characters as well. Also, there'll be 3 Fighters Passes, one for 2029, 2030, and 2031 as well. Those will be the 3 major Fighters Passes, as 2033 will be the Switch 3 release as well. So, yeah, I think Smash 6 will have much better support than Smash 5 or Smash Ultimate as well. But not everyone can return. But of course, it's a hypothetical thing. This is likely not going to be the most realistic thing, but I am trying to be the most realistic when it comes to Smash 6 as well. Yeah. Who do you think will be added in Smash 6 as well? And yeah, that's what this video here. Goodbye.